I didn't see you there. Welcome to Austin's Corner, which in this case is the one place in my room that I think doesn't have anything that talks about who I am and where I live. That should be okay. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the spirit of victimhood, which I'm moving the table on. I'm not a professional, you guys. I'm literally just trying to figure everything out. Anywho. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about victimhood, being a victim. And I'm sorry, but I'm actually not going in the direction of if you've been victimized. Which, it's a part of it, but that's just going to let you know right now, my whole video is not going to be about how to deal with being victimized. And so if that's what you're looking for, this is not the place. Instead, I'm going to be talking about what happens after you've been victimized, moving on and stuff like that. This is kind of really awkward seating, so I'm going to do the best that I can. I kind of made this video a little bit ago, but I felt like it was more ranty, so I decided that I was just going to wait for a while and think about it and redo it and try to do it with a better attitude and less ranty. And I just tend to just go on and on. I don't know if I'm doing that right now, but I wanted to redo it so I don't go on and on, so I don't restate my points, and try to do it a little more clearly and with kind of less ranty and more informative. So what I'm going to talk about, you guys, is what happens after you've been victimized. And this goes for all the way to the top level of if you have had horrible, awful, terrible experiences with your parents that have gone on for years, or other people that's gone for years, and you have just barely made it out alive, down to the very little part of if someone cuts you off in traffic. I am going to start off at the little part. I'm going to start off when you are with somebody and you say something like, "Oh man, I had a hard time sleeping last night," and they say, "Welcome to my world." You might also be the person who says that. And my question is, why? What you're doing is, when someone says something like, welcome to my world, they're letting the other person know that their feelings do not matter, because your feelings are bigger. And for some reason, bigger feelings in our mind are more important, which actually does not make any sense. The thing is that feelings are feelings are feelings, and someone having a different experience or maybe a bigger experience does not somehow completely overwash other people's experience and feelings. And so if someone says, "Yeah, I had a hard time sleeping last night," your response should definitely not be, "Oh, well, welcome to my world." That should not be your response. Kind of lame. I'm going to try to move this camera a little bit. This is a really attractive angle of me. You can see all of my chins. Just try not to think about that. As I will try not to think about that. And so, yeah, when you say something like that, or when someone else says something like that, what you're stating is that their feelings are invalid because you have feelings. You guys, feelings don't invalidate other people's feelings. That person is still tired. They still stayed up too late the night before, or had a really hard time sleeping, or whatever. Those things still happened, and that person still has those feelings. So saying something like that is pretty immature, and kind of silly, and it's not empathetic. It's pretty much turning it around towards you because you have to be the victim. Now that's just the beginning. And I wanted to start off there so you kind of understand the direction that I'm going to be going in. Yeah. All right. So like I've already stated, someone's feelings does not automatically overshadow someone else's feelings. So say you're sad, you're in a bad mood. You come up to your brother, your sister, your parent, your friend. They're also sad in a bad mood. You should not think And sometimes it's not even direct thinking. Sometimes it's just kind of like in the back of your head. You should not be thinking they have no idea what it's like to be like this. They shouldn't even be sad. They don't even have a real problem that they're dealing with. I have a real problem that I'm dealing with, so they shouldn't feel bad at all because my problem is bigger. When you do that, you're automatically separating yourself from that person. And each person is individually responsible for their own feelings, making themselves happy or calming themselves down or dealing with stuff. And we should not be doing that as people. We should be supporting and helping and loving each other. And maybe that person is not that mature. Maybe that person doesn't know how to do that. But you are, and so you can do it. And the thing is that don't wait for the other person to change before you change, which I've stated before. That's silly, because no one would ever do anything ever, because everyone would be sitting around and waiting for other people to be doing all the dones. Grammar. Okay, and so kind of moving on a little bit. You know, when you see in the news that a dad or a mom has been really abusive to their kids, or you know about it through the grapevine, and you think, well, at least you know that that kid will treat his kids well, or her kids well. That just does not happen. Almost never, when someone is abused, do they grow up and become really loving, awesome people. What happens is that they grow up and they never forget about being abused, and they consider themselves victims for the rest of their lives up until they abuse other people. But in their mind, while they're abusing someone else, they are not an abuser because they are still a victim, because they never went through the process. Just going through whatever you need to move past trauma and abusive situations. And in their minds, they're still victims. So it's impossible for them to hurt anybody because they're the victim. And this is extremely common, very, very common for people that are mistreated when they're young or in relationships to go on and mistreat other people. They're thinking that they can't be an abuser and they can't be an attacker because in their mind, they're still a victim. And you see people who have troubles with alcohol and drug abuse, and people who are sneaky, or they steal, or they cause problems, or everything is kind of like a fight to stay ahead of things and see how you can get what you want without having to go through the legal channels. But the entire time while they're doing this, things that are illegal and sneaky and gross, they don't see themselves as doing anything wrong. They don't think that they're bad. Not to say that they are bad. They don't think they're doing anything wrong. They think the system's broke and it shouldn't be illegal or any of that kind of stuff. And in their mind, it's okay because they are a victim. It's impossible for them to do anything wrong because they are a victim. And bullies are like this. You know, there's a bully at school. You see him pushing, and this totally happens. There's still bullies that push people around, mistreat other kids at school, even in college, you know. And you're like, that guy's a jerk. He causes problems. No one likes him, and that's how everyone views him. But he does not view himself as a bully because he's most likely being mistreated and victimized at his home. And in his mind, he is a victim. And you might think, well, that's stupid. He shouldn't think that. Au contraire, mon frere. This does not just happen to the extremes of what I'm talking about. Like I've said, this starts to like really extreme all the way down here to someone cutting off in traffic. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you feel victimized, and then you kind of drive like a tool a little bit because you're a victim, and the entire time you don't think, oh, I'm being aggressive, oh, I'm being rude. You think, I've been victimized and I'm a victim. And like, again, it's easy to look at them and be like, gross. They're obnoxious and I don't like them. What happens when that kid at school bullies you? What do you do? I mean, you feel small a little bit. That's going to kind of go through you, and you're going to probably react and put it on someone else. But the entire time you're thinking, not even thinking, it's just automatic responses. You can't be hurting anybody. You can't be causing problems because you're a victim. And so, yeah, when we have people committing crimes or hurting each other or abusing or bullying or anything like that, a lot of these people don't consider themselves, they don't look at themselves and like, yep, I did bad things and it was bad and I shouldn't have done it. They think they still consider themselves victims, whether it's victims of a law. The thing is that you will always consider yourself a victim of the next thing up until you take responsibility. Oh, none of my teachers like me. They just all must hate me. No, that must be it. Oh, guys must just hate me. Oh, girls must just hate me. My parents must just hate me. All of my siblings must just hate me. The law is just out to get me. All this kind of stuff. Whatever it is where you are, it turns to it's just the next level of, oh, this person just doesn't like me and they're victimizing me. Because that's your image that you have for yourself. That's part of your identity. Your identity is being a victim. And here's the thing, and I don't want to sound like a jerk, you guys, but the spirit of victimhood is not innocent and sweet. It's cowardly, and it can be very malicious. Cowardly and malicious. Because when it's used as a shield, so you don't have to think about things or go through the process of change, then you will turn to the person that you don't like. You still consider yourself a victim. And so there's no way where you can be doing anything that's hurtful or wrong because you're the victim, right? You're the victim. And when other people suggest that they're the victim, like maybe one of your kids, you could get even angry and violent because they can't take that identity away from you. That's your identity. You're the victim. What I would say, you guys, is if something really awful happened, or if something's continuous to happen where you're feeling victimized, maybe at work, and it might not be something huge, it might just be little dorky things. And the thing is that those things still affect you. I get really upset when people cut me off when I'm driving, like really upset. And then I act all when I go to work. Whether it's here or here, you guys, the response is the same. Go through the process. Am I a victim? Have I been victimized? Maybe I have been victimized, but my identity is not of a victim, and I should not use this as part of my identity. I'm not a victim. That's not my identity. I've been victimized, and go through the process of it if you have to. Grief and, therapy or whatever you got to do, and change. And it's not up to everybody else to change. It's up to you to change. Being a victim is not, and it's not empowering, and it's not sweet and innocent. It's cowardly, and it's often very malicious. The spirit of victimhood, not being victimized, but the spirit of victimhood. Let me just be clear on that. Be accountable for the things that you do. Can't be accountable for what other people do. You can only be accountable for what you do. It's a mind error. So I think this is something that a lot of people can think about. Again, up until the smallest thing of being cut off while you're driving. I think this is something we should really consider. And remember that other people's feelings are valid too. And don't overwash people's feelings, because your feelings are not more important. And I don't mean to be mean, but your feelings are not more important than someone else's feelings. And so, obviously, there would need to be some self-healing, but make sure not to project yourself on people if you've been victimized. And remember that everybody is important and everybody's feelings matter. And that is my whole video on the spirit of victimhood. So thanks for watching. I know this is super late. I'm going to try to edit it pretty quickly and send it. Yep, thanks for watching. All right. I'm Austin. Thank you. I believe in you. You can do it. Bye.